Today we shall start a new topic actually, and you remember before this, vacation that we have done those, graphs, and I have also done some, results on digraphs, directed graphs, and we have seen those results for graphs. I have told that we can have those analogous terminology and results for digraphs also. So since this is your first course, I am not covering much on digraphs, but if you are interested, you can learn more on digraphs also. Since this is first course, I have to introduce so many, all sorts of, basic terminologies and results based on this subject. So therefore, start a new, topic that is, or that new terminology or new type of graphs that is called trees. You might have seen this. This may not be new for you. That This trees, I have of course told you in the very beginning, actually, first class, that the concept of trees were introduced by so many mathematicians. Not only mathematicians, that scientists from other branches, that Cayley and then Kirchhoff. Kirchhoff introduced this concept of trees. I have told in the beginning that while studying electrical network, that circuits and all that, and Cayley also introduced this concept of trees for, that while that counting, that, I mean, those, I mean, so in chemistry actually, uh, that to study that, structure of that carbon and all, structure of many, several molecule, uh, there actually Kelly introduced this concept of trees also. This tree, what kind of graphs will be called a tree? Just you, we know already that concept of connectivity, do you recall? And these trees are basically, they are connected and acyclic graph. This is for definition of a tree. So here we can write its definition in this way. So a tree is a connected acyclic graph. Okay, so you understand why this a tree is a connected acyclic graph. Connected acyclic graph. What is the meaning of acyclic? Acyclic means it contains no cycle. Its meaning is that contains no cycle. Acyclic means, contains no cycle. Meaning of this acyclic. So a tree is a connected acyclic graph. Well, connected graph means between every pair of vertices there should be a path. So now what that whatever we are doing will be all these, terminologies, results, everything. Again we are focusing on graphs only. Okay, so those diagram structure I'll not bring into this now. Again we are looking into our graphs only, not diagrams. So here we are considering all undirected graphs. Okay. So whenever I say graph means, I have told you, we shall mean that is an undirected graph. Okay. So no direction is considered here. And T is a connected acyclic graph. Connected means between every pair of vertices there should be a path. That is a connected graph. And acyclic means it should not contain a cycle. So you understand a cycle in a graph, that also we have seen, we have defined. See, for example, suppose I am having a graph like this. Suppose, okay, so many other, okay, bodies is maybe there. So, I mean, in fact, we can have the parallelisms and all that. So, in this graph, you just look at, in this graph, there are some cycles actually. Some cycles are contained in this graph. See this for example, this is a cycle. This one, these five bodies is they form a C5 cycle on five bodies. Okay, so this graph G contains a cycle. It also contains a cycle like this. It also contains a cycle like this. So therefore, this is not an acyclic graph. Okay, this is not an acyclic graph. This is not acyclic. This is not a cyclic graph, it contains cycle. And in fact, this is not a connected graph also because there are some vortices that, they are isolated. We will not find any path from a vortex like this isolated vortex to any other vortex. So therefore, this is a disconnected graph also. So therefore, in this example, the graph we are having is not a tree, right? This cannot be a tree. So therefore, a tree will look like how it looks like. Okay, one example that quickly we can have is any path you consider, right? Any path. Here, this path on six bodies is P6 I have drawn. This will be a tree, right? This will be an example of a tree. This is connected one. Yes, it is connected. And also a cyclic. It contains no cycle. So this is one example of a tree, right? This is one example of a tree. And in general, therefore, a tree will look like it is connected means you will not have any isolated bodies or you will have only one component, right? You will have only one component, right? If you will have only one component. So in general, a tree may look like this. It is a connected, you will not have any isolated vortices, or you will have only one component, and between every pair of vortices, you should have a path. So this is one example of a tree. Well, it is clear to you this concept of a tree. So tree is an important class of graphs actually, and it has several applications in computer science and other branches of science and engineering, and also in social science. These trees are used. Well, so this is a definition of a tree. So now, suppose we are having an acyclic graph, just connectedness will remove. So that is actually how that looks like. Just I'm saying that an acyclic graph, how that graph will look like, that an acyclic graph. Okay, so how this graph will look like? Tell me. An acyclic graph. Acyclic graph means it will not contain any cycle and connectedness only we have removed. So therefore, this acyclic graph may be disconnected one. So if this acyclic graph, it may be disconnected. So each component will therefore be a tree actually. Each component will be a tree, right? So if this graph, acyclic graph is disconnected one, this may be connected, may be disconnected. If acyclic graph is connected, then we'll get a tree, that will be a tree. And if this acyclic graph is disconnected, then here, there may be some components, and there may be some components, and each component is a connected graph, and since it is acyclic, each component will look like a tree kind of thing, right? Each component will be a tree, therefore it is acyclic. It is acyclic, so it may be a tree kind of thing, right? So it may be a tree, right? Each component will be a tree, therefore. Each component is a tree here. Each component is a tree. Each component here, each component is tree. So therefore, an acyclic graph, you can think that is just a collection of trees kind of thing. An acyclic graph will be a collection of trees. So therefore, it is a name. An acyclic graph, a collection of trees, what do we see? We shall say. So an acyclic graph is therefore called a forest. It is a name. It is a name. An acyclic graph is called a forest. Okay. So those degree 1 vortices, you just remember in any graph, that degree 1 vortex we were saying that is a pendant vortex. That is a pendant vortex, we say. A degree 1 vortex, we are saying a pendant vortex. Well, in case of a tree, since we are saying that this acyclic graph will be a tree, or this acyclic graph is a forest. So, in these cases, actually, that degree 1 vortex is basically called a leaf. Okay, so a degree in general also people do use this degree 1 vortex as a leaf for a general graph also, but however, for this tree or forest, it is more justified kind of thing. So a degree 1 vortex, a degree 1 vortex in a forest is called a leaf. Okay, that is called a leaf or leaf vortex. Okay, that is called a leaf or a leaf vortex. Okay, vortex is called a leaf or a leaf vortex. Fine. So, I mean, we still have actually more terminologies on these trees and some more, results also. So here, that if we are having a tree, so there are some, that obvious results or some straightforward results we'll have based on these trees. So first thing that comes in mind is that if in a tree that n number of vortices are there. If in a tree number of vortices is n, then how many edges will be there? So that is the first question that arises in mind, that in a tree on n vortices will have how many this ages. So whether there is any relation between number of vortices and ages in a tree, is there any relation? So just you look at, first we shall have that relation between number of vortices and ages in a tree. Look here, whatever example I have given here, see this P6 is a tree, I have told you. In this P6, we are having number of vortices is 6 and number of edges is 5. And the other example here I have given, say this is T. Okay, in this tree T, also that whether it satisfies that, then the relation between number of vortices and edges. So here in this P6 actually that number of vortices is 6 and number of edges is just one less than the number of vortices. Number of edges is just one less than the number of vortices in this example in this P6. So whether that the same result also holds true for this tree I have drawn here. So whether it is true that number of edges in this tree is just one less than the number of vortices. Whether it holds true? Tell me, are you listening to me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, that holds true, right? Number of edges you just count, that is just one less than the number of vertices. So,
Yes,
in
ma'am.
these two examples, it holds true. But what about in general? Whether this result will be true for any arbitrary tree I consider, in general, any tree I consider, whether that result will hold true, that number of edges will be just one less than the number of vertices in that tree. Yes, the
Yes, ma'am.
answer, yeah, answer will be yes. But how do you prove that?
Because now it will
Huh?
be cyclic.
By induction.
By induction. Yeah, by induction we can prove. Yeah, induction also you can prove. So just you look one thing. In case of a tree, actually, we will. I mean, we'll find this relation between number of vertices, number of edges, and also this tree is something like that. It is minimally connected kind of thing. Okay, it is minimally connected. Minimally connected means whenever you remove a single edge, then the graph will be disconnected kind of thing. Okay, the graph will be disconnected. Removal of single edge will make this graph disconnected. Okay, and uh, I mean this tree will have so many properties. I'll will note down all of them one by one. So this tree actually, that this here we have seen this definition as this is connected a cyclic graph. So we shall see that we can characterize a tree in so many other ways also. So many other ways that we can define a tree, or all equivalent statement of a tree that we can see. So what other equivalent statements of a tree we can have? Well, one thing we have observed here, of course we'll prove it, that the number of vertices is n, the number of edges will be n minus 1. So I mean, if we say that any graph with n vertices, n minus 1 edges will be a tree, whether this will be a correct statement or some other thing we have to I mean include with this. N
Ma'am,
vertices, connected, connectedness. If I say that any graph with n vertices, n minus 1 edges will be tree, so whether this will be a correct statement or we still have some other condition we need.
ma'am, any
That,
connected graph with n vertices and n minus 1 edges is a tree.
yeah, that connectedness you require in that case, right? N vertices, n minus 1 edges and connectedness. That will give you a tree. So that is another equivalent statement. We will prove actually all this. Any other than this connectedness, what other condition I can impose on this? That n vertices, n minus 1 edges, and I'll not take this connectivity. Any other condition? If I consider I
Um, there is a unique path between every pair of vertices.
okay, unique, yeah, that will also give you, yes, okay, that unique path between every pair of vertices, or n vertices, n minus 1 edges, and a cyclic condition. If I would impose that a cyclic condition, n vertices, n minus 1 edges, and a cyclic condition, then that will also be a tree. Okay, a
Excuse me,
cyclic,
ma'am.
huh,
Ma'am, in
tell
the
me,
condition that there is a unique path between every pair of vertices,
huh.
so we
Okay,
don't need to mention that there
yeah,
are
yeah,
n
yeah.
minus one edges, right?
Exactly, exactly. That n minus 1 edges we don't need actually. We don't need that n minus 1 edges. Yes, you are right. So that is superfluous, that n minus 1 edges. Yes. So more or less, we have found out all equivalent statement for a tree. So now I shall note down whatever we actually discussed just now. I shall write down them as a theorem. I mean, all those statements will be equivalent. Okay. So I'll write down this as a, I mean, I'll just summarize all those statements what we have just now found out, that all are equivalent. So here I'll write that the following statements are equivalent the following statements are equivalent for n vortex graph G, for an n vortex graph G. Okay, so here we can take n be greater than or equal to 2. Okay, for a n vortex graph G. And what are all those statements here? So first statement is that G is a tree. G is a tree. G is a tree means we mean our definition. Okay, the definition of tree, what we have given, we mean that only in this statement. Means G is a connected acyclic graph. G is a tree means now we consider our definition only, that is connected acyclic. And second statement is there is exactly one path between every pair of vortices in G. Yes, there is exactly or unique path, you can say there is exactly one path between every pair of vortices. And third one is G is connected with n-1 edges. G is connected with n-1 edges. And fourth statement is G is acyclic. G is acyclic with n-1 edges. Okay, these are the four statements we have seen. Okay, so this means what? Okay, let me explain that G is a tree. G is a tree means I have told that we mean it is connected acyclic. Okay, and the second statement is between every pair of vortices only one path will be there. Only one path will be there. And here G is connected with n vortices and n-1 edges. Okay, with n vortices and -1 edges. Okay, that n vortices we have already considered that what is n actually, n vortices and n-1 edges. Okay, n vortices. N is the number of vortices. And here G is acyclic and n vortices n-1 edges. N is number of vortices. Okay, so these four statements are equivalent. Means if G is connected acyclic, then that is same as between every pair of vortices only one path. That will be same as it is connected n vortices n-1 edges, and that is also same as it is acyclic n vortices n-1 edges. These four statements will be equivalent. Okay, so how do we prove? Quickly I'll give you a proof of this. This is the important result. So we must see its proof. Why? How are these four statements equivalent? Well, so first of all, this we have to prove that these four statements are equivalent. How should we prove that? How, what we should prove? How should we prove? Okay, see, whenever you are given only two statements, if two statements would have given you statement 1 and statement 2, say this is statement 1 and statement 2. Whenever you are asked to prove that these two are equivalent, how do you prove that? You will prove both way. This statement 1 implies statement 2, and the other way statement 2 also implies statement 1, or in other way that we write that S1 if and only if S2 kind of thing. So both way this implication you have to prove, both way implication you should establish. Then these two statements will be equivalent, right? Whenever you are given only two statements, this is how you check their equivalentness of these two statements. Okay, there is. Well, So here four statements are given. All the four statements will be are equivalent. That's what we have to show. And there are several ways that you have to prove. There are several ways that you can proxy it. Okay, you could have done that whatever, whichever way that, you feel that that will be convenient for you, or you will able to give a proof, you should proceed. There are several, possibilities here. So that, you look that one could have, there are four statements here. You could have done that one implies two, two implies three, three implies four, four implies one. You could have completed this cycle kind of thing. Okay. So this will also give you that if you could prove this, then that also gives you that the four statements are equivalent. Okay. Or, there are several ways, but here, that I'll prove in this way. I'll check in this way. Okay. I'm not following this way, this cyclic way. So what I am checking is this. I am proving, I think this will be convenient for me. So that is why that I'll prove that one is equivalent to all these statements. Okay, I shall prove that all the statements 2, 3, 4, they are all equivalent to the first statement. Okay, I shall prove that here. Here we so that this one is statement one is equivalent to all these statements. Okay, this is how I check. One is equivalent to two, one is equivalent to several ways you can do. Okay, if you find any other way that you can also try, but I'll follow this one, that one is equivalent to 2, one is equivalent to 3, and one is equivalent to 4. So then all the four statements will be equivalent, right? One is equivalent to 2 and one is equivalent to 3. Therefore, 2 and 3 are also equivalent like this. And hence all four statements will be equivalent. Fine. So let's look at this. That let's look at, here we shall have this proof. We'll show this first is equivalent to 2. These two statements are equivalent. Okay, so in this case, I have told you that both way implication you have to justify. You have to justify both way implication. First implies 2, second, and then first statement implies second. Here we'll check, and then other way around. That second implies first. That you have to check also. So first implies second. How do you check that first implies second? First implies second means we are assuming this statement 1 and prove this statement 2. So we are assuming this statement 1 means we are assuming that G is a tree. So G is a tree means we are assuming that G is a connected and acyclic graph. It is connected and acyclic. Okay, that's what we are assuming. And we prove that between every pair of vertices, we get only one path. There is only one path between every pair of vertices. That's why you have to prove. Okay, so how do you prove that? So therefore you take any pair of vertices. Okay, any pair of vertices x and y in the vertex set of the graph. We consider. Fine. And this, of course, x and y, they are different vertices. X is not equal to y. Okay. And since the graph G is connected, that is our assumption. We are assuming statement 1. So therefore it is a connected graph, and hence we get a path anyway. Okay, we don't know how many paths, but definitely there is one path. The connectedness of the graph implies that we get a path between x and y. We get a xy path in the graph G. Okay, so from the connectivity of the graph, since G is connected, there is an xy path in G. That assurance will be there. Okay, this assurance will be there. We definitely get a path between X and Y, right? Okay, so we have to prove that only one path will be there. Okay, so suppose there are two different XY paths in the graph G. Suppose we get two different paths in the two different XY paths in the graph G, then what contradiction will get? Tell me what contradiction will get? Suppose
It
there are
becomes cyclic.
cyclic. Which one will be cyclic?
G will be cyclic, which
G will be
contradict the means
how
if
do
there are two paths, then we can go through from X to Y from one path and then Y to X in other part. Then it will becomes a cyclic. And as G is a acyclic, which is not possible, so there exists only one path between X.
okay? So yeah, that is how we'll proceed. I mean that okay. So in your answer, actually, little problem is there. So thing is like this, huh? Slightly their union. Say this is X and this is Y. Okay, and we get a path here, XY path. Okay, and there is another. I mean, okay, XY. There is another. Say not this one. Okay, that where is the color one? Okay, here I will go. No? Okay, fine. Okay, so there is another XY path. Huh? So these two paths need not be disjoint kind of thing. Did you get my point? So these two paths, so it might be happening that there may be some edges also in common. Did you get my point? Okay, some edges, some vertices, maybe. Okay, it will go like this. Okay, so this red one is say path P2, huh? And blue one is path P1. We are having, say this is your path P1. I mean we are having say this two different paths, say P1 and P2. They are different paths. I mean different, but their intersection may not be disjoint. They might be even some vertices, some edges in common, right? Okay, so therefore here directly that this will not form a cycle. Huh? That if you take just union of P1 and P2, P1 union P2, directly that you may not get a cycle, but their union will contain a cycle. Huh? There we can say that their union will definitely contain a cycle. Okay, both are XY path. Okay, so this is how. Huh? This is what we get here. So if there are two different XY paths, that's what I'll write here. If there are two different XY paths, say P1 and P2 in the G, in the graph G, then this P1 union P2 contains a cycle. Okay, P1 union P2 contains a cycle. That's what C. Okay, and this C also, I mean, contained in the graph G, obviously. This is also contained in the graph G, obviously, right? This will also be contained because P1 union P2 are contained in G. Therefore, this cycle will also contain in the graph G, and hence G contains a cycle. Okay, but our assumption is that G is a cyclic graph because we are assuming this statement 1. Okay, so therefore, this is a contradiction. Huh? This is a contradiction. This is notation for this contradiction. Fine. Okay, we are done. That the second statement, first one follows the second statement. Okay, fine. So the reverse one, second implies first. How do you prove the second implies first? Tell me. So second means between every pair of vertices, there is only one path. Okay, we have to prove that the graph is connected and acyclic. So it is straightforward from the second statement that between every pair of vortices there is a path. So therefore the graph is connected. Connectedness will give. And acyclic, if the graph contains a cycle, I mean that if the graph contains a cycle, okay, if the graph contains a cycle, then we can't actually take any two vortices over here, say this is X and this is Y, then between these this pair of vortices XY, that you are getting a cycle, you are going this way, this is one cycle, and the other way, the other cycle is this one, this portion, right? And here this part is another this part. So two different paths will be there between this XY. Okay, two different paths will be there between these two vortices XY, and that will contradict to our assumption that second one, that okay, so this, okay, so it is all right, students. Some problem arised in between, I think, and I think everything is fine with you. So it is all right that students, are you listening to me? Am I
Yes,
audible?
ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
So then, yeah, then we are done. That first and second statements are equivalent. This is how you can prove. You will get that. It is all right with you? Okay. Then we prove next the first and third statements are equivalent. First and third statements are equivalent. This we will prove. First and third are equivalent. So first we shall look into this. First implies third. So we are assuming first one. First statement means connected and acyclic. Connected and acyclic. Okay. Connected and acyclic, that statement we will assume. And also we have already proved this first and second are equivalent. So if necessary, you may use the second statement also for this. That between every pair of vortices, we get only one path, because we have already proved that first and second are equivalent. Okay. So here we shall prove that first implies third. It is connected and acyclic. Then third statement is that it is connected. Okay, connectedness we are done. Connectedness. Third statement is it is connected and n vortices, n minus 1 edges the graph will have. Connectedness is already given. We need not have to prove it. So only thing is that number of edges will be n minus 1. That's what you have to prove. Number of edges will be n minus 1, right? So how do you prove that number of edges will be n minus 1? In the graph G, n is the number of vortices. So we may do this induction. Okay, we may prove this by method of induction. Well, when in this base case, I mean when n is equal to 2, okay, when this n is, we shall do induction on n. We do induction on n, number of vortices. So when this n is equal to 2, I mean you are having two vortices, our assumption is this connected and acyclicness. Connected and acyclic. So since it is connected graph, we must have, okay, only two vortices are there. So we'll have an edge, right? Only two vortices are there and it is connected one. So no, I mean, they have to be adjacent, no other choice we can have. Okay, so this is connectedness. Okay, connected means there is a path between these two vortices. We don't have any other vortex. No third vortex is there. So they have to be adjacent only. And then it is acyclic. If it is acyclic, then we cannot have an edge like the parallel edges. We cannot have the parallel edges that will create a cycle. So therefore only one edge we can have, right? If there is another, I mean the parallel edge, then that will create a cycle. Or if you have any self loop at any vortex, that also creates a cycle. Okay, you cannot have any self loop also. So no other way that you can have more edges with these two given vertices, right? So this is only one possibility. Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this, that we'll have only this possibility?
ma'am.
Because it is connected and acyclic. This condition you have to keep in mind, that it is connected and acyclic. So no other possibility we cannot have any other edges. Okay, whenever you have a self loop, that creates a cycle. Then whenever you have a parallel edge, that also creates a cycle. So we don't have any, we cannot have any extra edge over here. We cannot have. So therefore, the number of edges, say I'll say E, is the number of edges is equal to n minus 1 here. That 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1. We will get only 1. Okay. So this is true for this base case. And let us assume it is true up to n minus 1 vertices. Okay. So true up to, I mean, assume that this, I mean, it is true. I mean, what we are proving. So what statement we are proving? That by induction. So here actually we want to prove that the graph is n minus 1 edges. This is what our statement. Okay, here the statement we want to prove. I mean, we here want to show this statement that G has n minus 1 edges. This is what our statement we want to prove. So assume that this statement is true up to n minus 1 vertices. Okay, up to n minus 1 vertices. Okay, then we shall prove for n vertices, any, I mean, that given n. Okay. Well, so how should we do this? Well, what we shall do from this graph G, we are looking into, okay, of course we are looking into that n is greater than or equal to 3 for this case, because for n equal to 2 we have already verified. So from this graph G, we shall, now actually we are assuming that this graph has n vertices, it is connected acyclic. So these are all given actually for this graph. Okay, these are all given things that this G is, I mean, connected acyclic, this is given, and n vertices. These are all given to us. Okay. I mean, we are assuming this is a tree on n vertices actually. So now from this graph G, we shall remove one edge. Okay. So let L belongs to this edge set, or this is an edge in the graph. Okay. L is an edge in the graph G. This is an edge. Okay. So now I shall look at this G minus L. This graph G minus L. One thing you notice that, I mean, whenever we are removing an edge from a graph, okay. So what do you mean by removing of an edge from a graph? Means we just, suppose the end vertices of this edge be xy. Then we just make the vertices x and y disconnected. We don't remove this end vertices. Do you understand? So you are having a graph like this. Suppose you are having a graph like this. Okay, there may be some self loop, parallel edges, whatever maybe. So here, then just removing. This is our L is this edge and XY be the end vertices. So then removal of this edge L means just we make this disconnected actually. We just make this vertices X and Y disconnected. We don't remove the end vertices, right? However, if you remove a vertex, you just think, oh, okay, remove an vertex. Say Z is this vertex. So removal of a vertex, this is graph G. Removal of this vertex Z means we remove this vertex Z, we remove this Z as well as all these edges you have to remove. All the edges incident on this vortex. Understand? Okay. So just you understand the meaning of removal of a vortex and removal of an edge in a graph. Okay. I might have told sometime, but again I am reminding you that removal of a vortex means we remove that vortex as well as we remove all the edges incident on that vortex. Okay. So now this G minus L, we shall look at the graph G minus L. Okay. So whether this G minus L will be a disconnected graph or it's still, I mean, it can be connected also. It may be connected also. What can you say about G minus L? Whether this will be a disconnected one or it may be connected. Tell why. And the reason also you have to give. So whether G minus L will be disconnected. Whether this, So G minus L is disconnected. Do you agree? Why? This is disconnected. Why? What is the reason? Why is this? Because between X and Y, only one path is there, right? Okay, we have already proved that first and second statement are equivalent. Here I am using the second statement. Between X and Y, we have only one path, unique path. Okay, between X and Y, we have only one path, unique path. And that is exactly the edge between X and Y. So once we remove this X and Y, you will not have any other path in the graph from X to Y, right? We will not have any other XY path in the graph G. So therefore the graph will be disconnected. Do you understand? Okay, G minus L is therefore it is disconnected because there is unique path between X and Y because the first and second statement are equivalent. Okay, so therefore this graph G minus L is disconnected. Okay, so here that I mean therefore this G minus L, okay, G minus L will have in fact exactly two components. This G minus L will have exactly two components. Okay, so here you take N1 vortices, here you take N2 vortices. N1 plus N2 is will be equal to N. Okay, and by the method of induction actually here you get the number of edges. N1 vortices here, N2 vortices here. Okay, this is how you prove. By method of induction, number of edges will be N1 minus 1 and here N2 minus 1 edges. Okay, and this is edges. Well, okay, in fact, you might be thinking that if this N1 or N2 is equal to 1, then what happens? What happens if N1 or N2 is equal to 1? See, of course, here not necessarily that we have to take, let me modify one thing that this N we are considering not necessarily that you have to take greater than equal to 2. Okay, you can start with 1 also. Okay, then you will not have any problem that N is greater than or equal to 1 you take. And in this induction step, when N is equal to 1, when this N value of N is equal to 1, so means you are having only one vortex and it is acyclic graph. Acyclic means definitely you can't have any edge over here like self loop, only possibility one vortex. And if you want to create any edge, then you have to create some self loops, no other edge you can have. So once we cannot have any self loop because of acyclic condition. So therefore, whenever you are having only one vortex, N equal to 1, then number of edges will have to be 0. You cannot create any edge. Okay. So this holds true for N equal to 1 also. Huh? So therefore, to take care of that case, whenever you are removing an edge L, it may happen that in one component only one single vortex may be there. Okay, so to take care of all this, we may consider that N is equal to 1 as our base case also. we make it. Start with that n equal to 1. So now from our assumption of the induction process, these two components will have the number of edges that I mean respectively that n minus 1 and n1 minus 1, n2 minus 1. And see, x will be in one component, the situation will be like this, and y will be in the other component. And this is what this edge L actually. After removing this L, we are getting the two components in this fashion. So now you count the total number of edges in the graph G. So this is whenever we are bringing this edge L back, this is the whole graph G only, right? So now the number of edges in the graph G, if you count, so the number of edges will be n1 minus 1 plus n2 minus 1 and plus this L. This is for L. So therefore you get that as n minus 1 still. Okay, just I am giving the briefly actually outline. Okay. So anyway, in your exam, we are not asking any proof. Okay. So you, write, try to understand, and I'm giving outline kind of thing, and convince yourself. This is n minus 1. Okay. Edges. And this is not difficult, and you'll able to understand also. Okay, this is how that first implies third. That so the next third implies first. So third one means, again you remember it is connected n vertices n minus 1 edges. This is what we are assuming. Okay, connected n vertices n minus 1 edges. We have to prove that it is a tree. It is a tree. Tree means which condition that we have to prove now. Which one left? Which condition just left? Oh, okay, that acyclic condition only we have to verify. Right, we have to verify that acyclic condition. Okay, fine. So here G, it is given, this is our assumption that, it is connectedness is there, n vertices is there, n minus 1 is there. These are all given. Okay, these are given. These are all given conditions. Okay, means we are assuming. And just we have to prove that G is acyclic. Okay, to prove that G is acyclic. It is acyclic only. Acyclic. Okay, so it is acyclic. Well, so how do we prove this is acyclic? Again, we shall do actually induction. Induction, again, we shall do induction on this number of vertices. Okay, we do that induction on n. Induction on n. Again, you do induction on n. N vertices, n minus 1 edges is given. So when it is, connected n vertices, n minus 1 edges. Okay. So, well, when n is only one vertex, n is equal to 1. Okay. So it is n vertices, n minus 1 edges. You don't have any edge here. Number of vertices is 1. Number of edges is 0. So no question of creation of any cycle. No edge is there. So whenever you are having two edges, n equal to 2, since it is connected, we'll definitely have an edge. Only two vertices are there, I have already told you, and number of edges is also n minus 1. So no more edges are there. So therefore it is acyclic. So in this best cases, you are having this acyclic condition true, holds true. So therefore assume that it is true up to, you again assume that this statement is that it is true up to n minus 1 vertices. Okay, n minus 1 vertices. So you assume that it is true up to n minus 1 vertices. So now we shall prove for n vertices. So now we consider G with n vertices. Okay, and we know that we shall prove that it is acyclic. We shall prove that this G is acyclic, and it is given that number of edges is n minus 1. That is given n minus 1 edges. Okay, fine. So here I'll complete this and then leave you. I mean, not much is left. Okay, this case. Okay. So here that if you take, actually we want to prove that this graph G contains a Lie vortex, a degree 1 vortex. That's what our claim. Okay, I mean, from this summation of that degree of this vortices, again that first theorem of graph theory, that we know that it satisfies this condition. Sum of degree of the vortices is equal to twice total number of edges. Total number of edges is this twice n minus 2. So we have already seen so this case. So here definitely we'll have a vortex. I mean, all the vortices cannot have degree 2, cannot have degree equal to 2 because of this equation. Okay, the right hand side, the sum is equal to 2n minus 2. We have seen also in one exercise that problem actually. So there is a vortex X whose degree will be less than, strictly less than 2. Degree will be 0 or 1. But degree cannot be 0 because graph is connected graph. Okay, it is given that the graph is a connected graph. So we cannot have isolated vortex. We cannot have degree 0 vortex. So this gives you that there is definitely a vortex with degree 1. Okay. So this gives you that, I mean, just I'll tell you, there exists a vortex X in G with degree X of X is equal to 1. We'll get that. Or a Lie vortex. This graph will definitely contain a degree 1 vortex. Okay, degree 1 vortex. Now, what we shall do is that from this graph you remove this. Okay, so we get this degree 1 vortex. Now you look at this graph G minus X. Okay, so this is what the, I mean, X was, this is X was a degree 1 vortex. So this remaining is your, say this is G minus X. X is outside here. Okay, so X was a degree 1 vortex, so it has a neighbor actually. So this is Y. Okay, and G minus X will look like this. So whether G minus X is still connected, G minus X is connected, still connected graph. Do you agree with this? This is still a connected graph because X was a degree 1 vortex. Okay, and we have just removed removal of this vertex X means removal of this edge also, right? So this G minus X will be still a connected graph. Do you agree with this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, still it is a connected graph. So now G minus X is connected and number of vortices in G minus X is, that is n minus 1, and from our induction actually. Okay. So from, I mean, our that assumption of induction process, from the assumption of the induction process actually, this, what can you say? Tell me, induction process, this G minus X is acyclic. Okay, because this is, what was the number of edges here? Edges in this graph? This will be, I mean, from this graph, the number of edges in the graph, and from there we, okay, we are removing one edge, right? Okay, so number of edges in the graph is n minus 1 it was. It is our assumption, n minus 1 edges. So therefore we have n minus 2 edges. So G minus X is fulfilling all these criteria, that it is connected and that number of edges is just one less than the number of vertices. So G minus X is satisfying this criteria. Connected, number of edges is just one less than the number of vertices. So therefore, G minus X is acyclic from this. Okay, this is acyclic. So once you prove that G minus X is acyclic, then if we bring this vertex X back, I mean actually this G is equal to G minus X. With this graph, we are bringing this vertex X, okay, and that edge L, okay. Say this edge is L, okay, this edge is L, okay. So we are bringing this vertex X and that edge L, okay. This is what the graph G. So then whether the, I mean once we bring this vertex and edge L back, whether this will create any cycle? G minus X, up to this it is acyclic. So when we are, I mean bringing this edge L back together with this vertex, then whether this will create any cycle? No. Then this is also acyclic, okay. Then this is also acyclic. Understand? This is also acyclic. It is clear to you, students? Okay. So that's
Yes,
all
ma'am.
for today. It is, yeah, it is only time. Achha, one thing I'll tell you that in that test 2 actually, some I mean answers in the Moodle were wrongly given. It were, I mean, few in 2 or 3 questions only. That actually I'm going to correct. So in the meantime, I mean, some students have already sent me their doubt and any discrepancy kind of thing or any mistake in that answer. So if you still, I mean, observe, then please send me by tomorrow so that I'll correct actually in that module. We'll have revised, I mean that revision of that marks again for you. Okay. So please go through once again if you haven't and send me your queries, your doubt, complaint, anything regarding that test 2 questions and answers.
Ma'am, what were the highest and the average marks for the test?
Yeah, actually somehow I have seen that what happened to you boys, that I was seeing that in this test 2 the performance is not good actually. Very poor performance. Test 1 you have performed quite good. Test 1 many have got actually, I'll say that test 1 that average mark is like something will be around 27, 28. Around 30 that average mark in the class, minimum was 20 in that. I mean test 2, test 1, but test 2 surprisingly that I mean even God, I mean I am not satisfied with your marks. But highest maybe around, it hasn't gone, it hasn't crossed I think 35 also. No one has got I think 40 I feel full marks. Yeah. So test 2 you did not perform well. I mean questions were not difficult, but somehow I think you did not practice, I hope. Lack of practice, because lack of practice I think. Okay. Okay, try to perform well in the third test. Anyway, test 1 your performance is quite good. That I can say. Oh, okay, we'll do something. Okay, or otherwise in that.
Ma'am, it is relative grading or absolute grading?
Yeah, usually we go for this absolute only, because students, you know, I mean, some students will find that they get out of 100, they will be scoring that around 97, 98. And if we go, I mean, make relative also, not much difference will be there. Okay, that is what happens. And anyway, I am planning that because in test 2 your performance is not good, that try to do well in that test 3. That will be your final one. Okay, so I am thinking that the test, I mean test 3, that third test, I'll make that for 50 marks. Okay, that I'll make 50 marks, for that final one, and that is your end same kind of thing, and between these two, that test 1 and test 2, I'll take best of 2. Okay, best of 2. Test 1 and test 2, I'll take best of 2. And mandatorily you have to appear for that test 3, that is 50 marks. Okay. And test 1, test 2, that is, 40 marks, you know that. So total will be 90. Okay. Another 10 marks will be for mind, TA kind of thing. Okay. So that is what I am planning, because test 2 you did not perform well. So that is why I'll take best of this test 1 and test 2. Test 1 is, almost all the students have done quite well. And test 3 will be for 50 marks, and that will be a full syllabus. Keep this in mind. Test 3 will be for full syllabus for 50 marks. Okay, time also I'll give little more also there, 1.5 hours kind of thing. And get prepared from now itself. I am telling you, practice more. Okay, that's all for today then. Or any other query, any other question? Tell.
Ma'am, what were the average marks for test 2?
For test 2.
Yes.
Yeah, test 2 actually, that's what I was thinking. I was seeing actually that very poor marks. Average will be something around, below 20 maybe also. May not be 20 also. It may come below 20 also. But test 1 is average will be something like 27, 28, around 30 you can say.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, then that's all for today.